and relax. Okay guys, welcome to Friday Waffle. Thank goodness. Now before I get into this, you know what, I really can't believe just how quickly time is passing right now. I mean seriously, the week absolutely flies and I can't believe it's Friday already. Not that I'm not delighted that it's Friday, but seriously, I would say in the last, I don't know, I would say in the last couple of years, it really does. I mean, time literally does fly in, and it's a fact that, or it's a thing that my mum and dad used to always tell me, and you hear people saying it all the time. The older you get, the quicker time goes, and it is the truest thing ever. I think for me, it's down to the job. I am so busy at work that it's unbelievable. You know, I really don't have any time to sort of stop and ponder and, you know, think of stuff. It's just like boom, boom, boom the whole time. And because it's so intense, because you're so busy, it just means that time absolutely flies. And like I said, I really can't believe it's Friday already. Aye, so anyway, yeah, I hope you've had, I wouldn't say I've had a bad week, a bad week. I mean, I hope you've had a decent enough week. What's been happening in the news? Prince Harry's got engaged apparently. It's now the 1st of December, so Christmas is in about, was it 24 days time, something like that. I hope you've all done your Christmas shopping. I'll do mine once I can get onto the computer. But nah, you know, I mean, I do like Christmas. I do like it, but I think it's when you're working, like I said, you just don't have time to think about other things. Your mind is just switched into work mode the whole time, that you don't have any chance to really think about Christmas. I mean, the whole thing of Christmas for me, you know, when I was younger, I mean, apart from the getting the presents thing, was just to sort of build up to it. You know, you go right into the atmosphere of it. Obviously, as you get older, that sort of does dwindle slightly. But aye, but yeah, holiday wise, I'm taking the 3 days off in between Christmas and New Year, so I think it actually works out. I've got 11 days off. So considering I'm only taking 3 days off, when you add in the 4 days public holiday, the 4 days public holiday, it works out to almost 2 weeks, which is absolutely fine. I mean, I can't stand being off after the new year. You know, some people take like, you know, 3 weeks off and they don't go back until like the 10th of January. That would just do my head in, because your skin, the weather is absolutely crap. And you're just sitting thinking about going back to work. So I'm looking forward to a break. Yeah, I could certainly use it for certain anyway. So yeah, what have I been doing this week? Have I been playing any that there video games? I've not played my PSVR for about a week, and that's not because I'm going off it at all. I just haven't had the time. That's the thing about this Friday Waffle. I mean, in days gone by when I wasn't quite so busy, you know, you could be working away and you could be thinking about things and you would come up with ideas and whatnot. But right now it's just non-stop. Excuse me, non-stop, and I'm not having any time to myself at night time really to really think about stuff. But I've got quite a few questions there, so I'm sure I'll be like prattle on for a good half an hour anyway. Subs are going up. It was kind of, I think I'm at, well, as of tonight I was at 1,672 subs. I kind of got stuck just beneath the 1,670. It went up to 1,670, then it fell back to 1,668, and then it was going up and then down, up, down, up, down. But I've finally broken the 1,670. My hopes of getting to 2,000 before Christmas is not going to happen unless I can somehow rustle up 328 subscribers. I don't think that's going to happen somehow, but anyway, that doesn't matter. So anyway, listen, I don't have anything at all to talk about, guys. I do apologise. Like I said, I've just had so much other stuff going on just now. So let me just have a wee quick read while I enjoy my... in fact, yeah, you know what? There is one thing I'm going to talk about, so... I've been quite busy this week selling games. Now, I don't know whether it's an age thing. I don't know whether it's because I've ticked over from 50 years old, but every time I go up to my loft, I see all these big boxes. I mean, I must have, you get these big double crate things that are about that size by about that deep, huge big clear crates. You get them from Asda for about £3 each. I must have about, about 10 of them, I think, up there. And they're jam-packed with stuff. And I'm talking about video games, consoles, you name it. Plus, I've got loads of other stuff kind of lying loose. I've got quite a few different systems up there that I never ever use. And every time I go up into the loft, I look at all this stuff and it kind of depresses me a wee bit, because I think to myself, I've not used that stuff in 2-3 years. What is the chance of me ever using it now? And for a while there, yeah, I was, if I had the chance of buying a console or whatever, I would buy it. I think, oh great, add to the collection. But it's just dawned on me. Excuse me. It's dawned on me just how, pointless that is. It really is pointless buying stuff that I'm never going to use. So I've been going through my collection. I mean, I've got absolutely stacks of stuff that I could get rid of. So I started off with the Sega Master System. Now, some of you might give this video a thumbs down because of it. The Sega Master System, I didn't have any memories of playing it. I never actually played it, so I don't have any nostalgia attached to it. And I've got quite a few games. I've got about 40 games for it. But I can count in one hand the number of times. I could count in one finger the number of times I've actually played the thing. Because I don't have any nostalgia for it, I don't have any yearning to play the games. And if I do want to play them, I've got it in emulation. So, I just thought to myself, as I was looking at stuff around me, I thought, never ever play that, never likely to play it, get it sell. So I've managed to sell about, I don't know how many games. I've sold about 20 games, and I've made quite a nice, I was going to say profit, I've made quite a nice sum of money. It's all going towards buying Christmas presents, I hasten to add, but you know what, it saves me putting in a credit card. But yeah, there was one game in particular, I actually got £64 for it. Golden Axe Warrior or something it's called. I wasn't even aware that any of these games were worth anything. I mean, a couple of games I got about £10, but a lot of them I got £2-3 for them. But yeah, this Golden Axe Warrior, £63 I got for it. So I was quite surprised at that. But yeah, so I've got a shed load of stuff to get posted. I've still got the actual Master System up for sale. I had to laugh just before I actually started recording this. I put it on Gumtree for £45, and that includes 7 unboxed games plus 1 controller. And £45, which I think is a damn good price. And somebody emailed me and says, would you accept 25? Now, I don't know what it is with people nowadays. People seem to want things for free. They don't want to pay money for it. I'm actually tempted to not even reply. I would never offer almost half of what you're asking. They're obviously, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fully entitled to ask, but aye. So if you're on the lookout for a Sega Master System that's been owned by my good self, I'll even sign it for God's sake for free. With 7 games, it's £50 including postage. So let me know if you want to own a piece of extremely rare Meister memorabilia. That last part might not be true. But no, seriously, if anyone's looking for a Master System plus some games, I think I've also got I found it yesterday. It's the gamepad controller thing that I've got with it, but I also found it's like a gear stick controller. Yeah, that's the only way I can describe it. It looks like a gear stick. So I've also got that. So if you're interested, I would throw that in with it as well. £50 posted within the UK. Let me know if you're interested. Just put a comment below if you're interested in it. That's what I've been busy doing. I mean, it takes up a lot of time. One thing, just talking about selling stuff. One of my mates, he's self-employed. He does a lot of mentoring and that with companies, and he's actually going to be meeting up with the big cheese of eBay. And he was asking have we got any questions for him. And one of the guys told me something, but I didn't realise that eBay actually take a percentage of the fee, including postage. So if you're selling something for £10, they'll take a proportion of the £10, and say you're charging £4 postage, they'll also take away some of the money from the postage, which, quite frankly, is absolutely ludicrous. How they can do that, how they can justify that, is beyond me. I didn't know that until I started selling this stuff. So it just means that people are going to be, instead of charging £5 postage, you're going to charge £7 to pay for the fees. You know, it's just complete, I'm going to swear, it's complete bullshit, quite frankly. I mean, the thing about eBay, by the time PayPal take their fees, by the time eBay take their fees, and the thing about eBay that really annoys me is you don't get hit for fees from eBay until is it the month after. So you might make, say, £100 and think, yeah, beauty. Then you get an invoice from eBay for like £24, you know, and it suddenly doesn't seem quite so much. So if I could sell to either somebody that I know or sell it through Gumtree or something, I'd much rather do that, because eBay, it's really it's not a place to make a lot of money, unfortunately, now, you know. But so anyway, you can let me know if anyone's interested in the Master System. Right, I'm going to crack on with these questions. I don't know if they're in any particular order. Yeah. Okay, first up, Mr. Ian Hunter. A few years ago, I asked Mark Vahir, that's Lactobacillus Prime, if anybody watches him. I did give Mark a shout out last week. His opinion on which was the better CPU, the Z80 or the MOS6502, which I believe is the Commodore 64 CPU. His answer was so informative that I've forgotten most of it. A really nice guy who my wife and I were lucky enough to meet at Play Manchester in 2016. Yeah, Mark, I've met Mark a few times. I do catch up with Mark quite a bit. He's one of my best friends, probably on YouTube. I'm actually planning to try and do a get together, get a main meister and chums talk pish, or a waffle, whatever, with Mark. Anyway, I digress. I was wondering, Alan, if you ever ventured into the dark, begotten world of machine code or assembly language for the 8-bit machines. I personally became quite good at Commodore V2 Basic, but couldn't progress beyond that despite lots of effort. I would have loved to have had a general grasp of machine language, but sadly not to be. How about you? Unfortunately, Ian, like my guitar playing, my programming was non-existent. I mean, I was even going to tell lies and say that I dabbled in it when I first got my computer. I didn't. I mean, I did O-grade computers at school, and you had to program on the BBC. And you know, the best of it was, the BBC is actually quite a fun computer to program for. But when I moved across to the Commodore 64, it was all about games. I got the Commodore 64 to get games. So literally from the word go, it was all about games for me. I mean, I can't even say I dabbled with programming the C64. I mean, as far as basic went, non-existent. As far as machine code went, nah. I mean, I had a mate, not seen him for years. I think he lives in India now, actually. He was a bit of a computer genius. I mean, he works for Texas Instruments. Now he's worked for them for 30 years. He actually won a competition at university, and part of the prize was to get a job for them, and he's still working here some 30, 40 years later. 30 years, 40 years? Yeah, 40 years. No, 35 years later. But he was a hacker in our group. I used to buy the games and he would hack them. And he used to sometimes try and explain to me, you know, what machine code was, and he would tell me this is that address, and what you're doing here is you're reading to this part of the memory, and it just went over my head. I struggled to understand it, and to be fair, I never actually made any effort. The most effort I ever made you could see, to come even close to programming was, there was a system called, well, it was a software package called Gary Kitchen's Game Maker, and it was published by Activision on the Commodore 64, and it was on disc, and the furthest I got was I created this demo. Now, if I remember rightly, that I managed to get a dog running back and forwards. I think the spectacle of the video, it was a demo type thing, was the guy who was getting his head chopped off. Yeah, it's quite strange. I'd love to see it now. It took me ages to put this thing together. It was kind of like a basic sort of command thing, but I've looked at that package since then, and I sometimes wonder how I actually got as far as I did. But it was, believe it or not, you actually use the joystick to program, so it was kind of made for dummies. But that was the furthest I ever got. I think the most advanced program I ever wrote in on the C64 was think of a number, you know, higher or lower. The computer would tell you, it would generate a random number, and then you had to input your number, your guess I should say, and it would tell you whether you were higher or lower, and that was about the size of it. So really pathetic, but I bought the computer to play games. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I mean, I do have a lot of respect when I talk to guys like Jim Bagley and Sean Southern and all these guys who turned into amazing programmers, that they preferred to program rather than play games. And if it wasn't for guys like them, we wouldn't have the games to play. So sadly, Naughty and I will never ever work for Bethesda or EA. Yeah, anyway, thanks for the question, Ian. Next one, down the rabbit hole, my good mate Kev. In the past month, 2 new games came out for series I really like, Battlefront and Assassin's Creed, but I have zero desire to play the new games. Have you ever been disappointed by sequels? And I'm guessing I know why you're not interested in playing Battlefront, Kev. Is it because of there was a big furore when it came out, apparently, to play as Darth, I was going to say Darth Maul, where is that coming from? Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. You had to play the game for like 40 hours, or else you could buy to unlock them. Apparently EA did a 180 U-turn, and I think they made them more or easier to get, but I'm guessing that's why you're not interested in Battlefront. Assassin's Creed, I've got to say, Kev, I mean, I've got, following Dean's recommendation for good Xbox games, I've actually got about 5 Assassin's Creed games for the Xbox 360, and I have never played any of them. I've got them because people tell me they're good games, but I've never played any of them. So I'm interested because I know you're a massive fan of Assassin's Creed. What is the reason why you don't want to play it? I'd really be interested to know that. What the reason why you're not wanting it, Kev? Let me know. Go and stick the comment below, please. Have you ever been disappointed by sequels? I have. I'm just trying to think offhand. The thing about sequels, every now and again, a game will come along which will be, people will rave about it, and it'll maybe be quite unique, a bit different, whatever, and people will love it. And then it's like the first album syndrome. A band will come along and they'll write this amazing album. Prime example, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. And then people want more of the same, and then when they bring out another one, it never quite reaches the same high that the original gave, and it's the same with computer games. You get it with films, music, computer games. So I think that's inevitable. It's always very difficult. I'm trying to think of a game where the sequel is better. That's quite a difficult one. There's probably quite a few actually, but the one game I'm looking up there actually at it, Gears of War on Xbox 360. I thought the first game was incredible, but again, it's probably down to the fact that that was the game that really got me into the Xbox 360. It opened my eyes as to what the machine was capable of. And me and my mates, we played it non-stop. I used to play it online as well. And subsequent games, sequels, I just can't really get into it. I mean, I did complete the second one on the 360. I bought it on the Xbox One. In fact, I got it for my Christmas actually last year. There you go, I got it for my Christmas last year. And we're almost at Christmas again. And I don't know what it is. I just can't. It just doesn't excite me the same. Don't know why. One game that no, I'm talking utter nonsense. One game where the sequel was better. I mean, there's lots of sequels that are better. Pikmin, the original Pikmin, is one of the finest games ever written. If you've never played Pikmin and you've got an Xbox, you've got a GameCube or a Wii, you absolutely need to play Pikmin. It's a wonderful game. Really, it's Nintendo at their very best. The original was excellent. The sequel was even better. It enhanced everything. It made it a wee bit easier as well. But I'm trying to think of any sequels that were disappointing. The original BioShock is one of the best games, I think, in my opinion, it's been released ever for sort of like more modern consoles. The original was just incredible. You played the part. Basically the baddies were the what are they called? The big daddies. These were these giant robots which were kind of protecting the little I can't know what they're called again. The little girls. It's quite a bizarre game, but it was an amazing atmosphere. The graphics, the sound, the whole landscape. You were an underwater sort of gothic Victorian ambience. Just the whole atmosphere is claustrophobic. It's quite terrifying actually. An amazing experience. One of the sort of the best worlds I think I've played a game in actually. So that was an amazing game. Loved it so much. Never actually completed it because I got to the very, very end. It was the very last baddie, and there's a bit where you go up in a lift, you save, then you go up in a lift, and then you face this baddie. And I had saved it not knowing what I was getting into, and I only had a tiny little bit of ammunition and a tiny wee bit of health. So every time I restarted the game, I was just getting killed. But an amazing game. And the sequel, they flipped it on its side. You actually played the part of the big daddies, and that just like spoiled it completely. It would be like it's like Jaws. We've all played Jaws. We've all watched Jaws in the cinema. It's an incredible film. It'd be like then bringing out another Jaws film, but you actually play the part of the shark. No. Jaws is the baddie, and the big daddies were the baddie as well. They were kind of goodies as well, but they tried to kill you. So, but yeah, BioShock's an amazing game. But the second one, it just didn't feel the same. I never actually played it very much because it didn't excite me again. I wanted to be killing the big daddies. I didn't want to be a big daddy. Other games, Left 4 Dead is an amazing game, and I think the sequel is even. In fact, no, you know what? No, I tell a lie. The sequel to Left 4 Dead, which is imaginatively titled Left 4 Dead 2. My daughter and I played the original game a lot. I don't know how many hours we put into it. We played it non-stop. We played it online. We played it together, sitting in the same room together. And a great game, absolutely fantastic game. Then they brought out the sequel, and rather than sticking with the original characters, they brought out these really, really annoying characters. There's two of the characters in the sequel. Well, there's one in particular who's just a really annoying. He's like a young guy, and he's always making these stupid jokes. And when we saw that, we're like, oh, this just isn't the same. And that actually stopped us playing it. To the point that I eventually says, look, come on, we've got this game. Let's just try and look beyond the characters and enjoy it. And we've done that, but we still don't like the characters. So the choice of characters kind of put us off the game. I'm sure it does happen, but yeah, there's quite a few games, Kev. I can't think of any more offhand that's the sequel hasn't been as good. But I'm interested to know why you don't like Assassin's Creed, because I know you are a massive, massive fan. Second question by Kev. Have you ever bought a game with an option for downloadable content and seeing it sitting there begging you to buy it makes you edgy, like it's an itch you want to scratch? You know what? Like a lot of people, I'm getting gradually tired. Not so much of downloadable content, because I think for that, if what you're saying, what I think you're referring to is like extra levels. But we've got a bone of contention with my daughter. She plays Overwatch a lot on the computer, which I don't mind her doing. You know what I mean? She's not on it all the time, but they have this really annoying thing where they're not called loot crates. Is it loot boxes? I think they're called. And basically, you pay £8 for it's a virtual, an online loot crate. And what it'll give you a couple of, like, I don't know, different skins, whatever it is. You'll get a few, 2 or 3 things, but you don't know what you're going to get. Now, I heard, in fact, did I mention this in last week's Waffle? Or maybe, I can't remember if I did or not. I heard a thing on the radio. There's a group of people were trying to get these virtual loot boxes outlawed for sale to children, because what their argument is, it's effectively gambling, i.e. you're buying something which you don't know what you're going to get. So you could spend £8 and get something that you've already got. But apparently it was knocked back. I don't know what was it, by Parliament, whatever. It was knocked back because what they've said is gambling, you're taking the chance of winning, but then you may not get anything. Whereas these loot boxes, you're guaranteed to get something, but it might be something that you've already got. So it's kind of along the same. It's similar to, what do you call it? When I was a kid, football cards. You know, you buy a pack, you get maybe 5 football cards. Then you buy another pack, and you might have 3 that you don't have, 2 you've got. And the more football cards you get, the more likely it is you're not going to get anything that you've not got. So you could spend money and you could have all the cards. So these things, these loot boxes in Overwatch, and I'm sure other games have them as well, they are effectively virtual versions of that. And I've got to say, I get extremely upset with my daughter sometimes, because I mean, it's her birthday on Sunday, and she's already picked this thing on Overwatch. It's a skin, and it's I'm not going to tell you how much it is, but it's not cheap. And as much as I love computer games, I just hate seeing money getting flung down the drain, because what I'm trying to say to her is, it's not enhancing the game. And she'll say, well, that is because I've got a different costume. But to run about in a game with a different costume for, you know, X amount of pounds, it's just a waste of money, you know. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of these things at all. I think they should be outlawed, or at least banned to kids, because I've lost count in how much money we've spent. I mean, we give my daughter, you know, pocket money, and at the end of the day, we'll say to her, well, it's yours to do with what you want. But I would just hate to imagine how much she's probably spent in all this virtual crap in Overwatch, you know. And when it gets to a point she no longer wants to play it, There is no resale value. It's not like buying something in real life. You can say, well, I'm bored of it now, I'm going to sell it. When you're investing money in a game like that, once you stop playing it, that is it. The money's gone. But yeah, as far as DLC, downloading extra levels, well, the game I was talking about earlier on there was Left 4 Dead. We bought, I think there was about half a dozen extra levels, and I think they're about £4 each. Don't mind doing that because we played it. We got our money's worth out of it. But I generally do try and avoid it. I mean, you know, any game you get for the PS4 now, within a week or a couple of weeks, you'll get extra levels you can download. I mean, I know, was it Resident Evil 7? There's all different packs and what have you. And I don't know, maybe it's my age, but I'm so reluctant to spend any more money on a game. You know, I've already paid £40 for a game. I don't want to have to pay any more money. It's probably just an age thing. You know, I'm from a different generation. But, yeah, it depends what it is, Kev. I mean, I dare say, if I got a game that I've absolutely loved, I mean, I think, yeah, I'm doing a Billy Connolly here. I'm talking and I'm jumping back again. Going back to Resident Evil 7, I've not completed it. I'm nowhere near completing it. So I'm not going to go and shell out more money for an extra level. But I have had games in the past, like Left 4 Dead, where I've completed the game. In fact, one and I'll take it, the best example of DLC, which I was happy to pay for, and that was The Last of Us on the PS4. I loved that game. I completed it on the PS3, completed it on the PS4. And so when they announced an extra chapter, I was only too happy to pay it. You know, got our money's worth out of it. So, yeah, well, depends what it is, Kev. If I love the game, I don't mind paying for DLC. But if it's a game I hardly play, nah. I mean, I know, is it Grand Theft Auto 5? You can get stacks of stuff for it. And finally, this is again Kev again. Finally, I was listening to a show of video games, 20 questions, and they ran into some questions that are not simple yes or no. I'm curious as to what you would answer the following if you could only say yes or no. If you're thinking of Ryu from Street Fighter and the question is, does he wear a hat? No, he's got a headband. If the game is Batman Arkham Asylum and the question is, does this game take place in America? No. I think it might be, it's supposed to be America. I'm not sure, I'd say no. If the game is Destroy All Humans and the question is, do you play an animal? Well, I don't know, what is an animal? What is the definition of an animal? Are we an animal? I think we are. Original on the Xbox. And yeah, I think you play a part of a space alien. Is that an animal? Depends what the definition is. That is a bizarre set of questions. I think you've been watching Mr. Swifto too much for these left field questions. Strange one. And listen, Kev, thanks very much for your questions, and let me know about your Assassin's Creed. I am genuinely interested to know why you're not interested in buying it. Next up, Mr. Bat, from one Batman to another Batman. It occurs to me that you're not much of a fan of the NES system. I know you aren't an N64 fan. Have I ever mentioned that? I was just curious as to your reasons why. Obvious, it's your opinion and you're perfectly entitled to it. I understand that the NES came out at a time when the 8-bit computers were at their absolute height, and at a time I got one because I've just jumped up. I understand the NES came out at a time when the 8-bit computers were at their absolute height, and at a glance the NES wasn't technically much more advanced, if at all. But at the time I got one because I thought the games in the system were very arcade-like in play, if not in visuals, and arguably a better quality arcade experience to the 8-bits and to a certain extent the 16-bit computers too. That at least was my justification when I begged for one in the late 80s. I'm interested in why the system didn't float your boat. You've kind of answered my question, but I mean, yeah, I didn't have one, none of my mates had them, so it was a system that largely passed me by. And by the point that I kind of became aware of it and sort of getting games for it, i.e. emulators, I was already playing the SNES and the Mega Drive, so by the time I became aware of the NES as a system I could use, it had already been superseded. And the fact that it's emulated on virtually everything possible, you know, it really is, and it's emulated very well, I don't have any real desire to get one. I mean, it's a bit like, you know, the Master System. It would be nice to have, but I'm not using the Master System, so I'm selling it. Part of it as well, and it's just what you're saying that you begged, presumably your parents, to buy you one. I was an adult when I first got my computer. I mean, my mum and dad bought me my very, very first computer, which was a Texas, and to be fair, wasn't the greatest. So from then, what would that be, 1983 I think it was, I bought my own computers. I didn't have any, I couldn't ask anybody for money for one. I had to pay for it myself. And, you know, back in the early 80s, I didn't earn very much money. I mean, I don't earn a lot of money now, but, you know, when you're a kid, I mean, I think I was on about, I don't know how much it was. I started as a YTS, which was it 30 quid a week? I had a Commodore 64, and comparing that with the NES, there was really no difference. So why would I want to sell my Commodore 64 where I could copy games? I could get games for £1.99 and buy myself an NES and have to, I mean, if I was going to buy a game for the NES, I'd have to, it would be like a month's wages. I could only buy one game a month. So all of that, really, the NES, I didn't have any desire for one, because I had a perfectly good computer, in my opinion, back then. If I wanted an NES, I was going to have to jolly well go out and buy it myself, and I didn't have the money to buy one. You know, I'd have to have saved up for it. I had other stuff that I wanted to do, like trying to get a car and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was primarily money, and secondly, I didn't really see it being much a jump. And by the time I did, I mean, I've never owned an NES. By the time I did get to play them on emulation, you know, we had the Amiga, we had the SNES, and to my mind, these are all much, much better systems. I mean, I know it's an iconic system, but it's just one that I've got no memories of at all. So, you know, I think nostalgia does play a huge big part of it. And secondly, Mr. Batman. On a different tangent, I would love to hear your views on the knockoff systems that come preloaded with shed loads of games that are flooding these... I'd never make a good newsreader. Flooding these shores from China, like handheld Mega Drives, NESs. Are they value for money augmentations to your retro collection, or cheap, tacky, exploitative tat? Your views, sir. Yeah, you're not wrong, but there's a lot of these kicking about. As a purveyor of original hardware, I wouldn't buy anything like that. I've not got any desire for it. I mean, I've got my PS Vita, I've got my GPD-XD, I've got my NVIDIA Shield, which does a perfectly good, they all do perfectly good jobs of playing all these systems. So I don't need to go and buy one of these things. Are they a waste of money? I don't think so. I mean, a few guys, I think Steve Benway's done a sort of a review in a few of them, and you know, for 30 quid, you're getting a nice little handheld that's maybe got, I don't know, 50 games in it. You know, so you can't really knock the value for money side of things. I think they're perfect for somebody who's maybe not into video games. Maybe the last time they played a computer was back in the 80s, and they want a cheap way to sort of remember the you know, the games from their past. They're great. They definitely would you call it, fill a gap in the market. I think for like serious retro gamers like myself and yourself as well, I wouldn't go out and buy one. You know, like I said, I've got other means of playing these games on the move, so I don't have any real need for them. But I think they do, certainly. They serve a purpose. They're probably wholly illegal, considering they're selling all these ROMs with them as well. But nah, I think they're pretty good. Don't go expecting some real quality thing, because for 25 quid, you've got to appreciate they're probably being made extremely cheap. Possibly not very reliable, but for the money. I mean, I know there's one of these I was having a look for. Ironically, I was actually having a look for the NES Mini just out of curiosity a few weeks ago, and there's a cheapo NES Mini now. Steve Benway did a video of it, and it was something like 20 quid, or was it even less? Was it £12 or something? You're getting a sort of a bootleg NES Mini, and it's got like every game in it. So, for the money, I think they're quite good value. Did it interest me? Not particularly. But anyway, listen, Bart, thanks very much for the question, mate. I'll just have another wee swig of my tea. It's actually coffee. Next up is Mr. Bop MC. Do you think in the future you will downsize your collection and go emulation only, or will you stick to original systems, or a bit of both? Well, I've kind of been mentioning that, Bop. I'm starting to sort of trim back the fat of my collection. Not games that I use, but games that I don't use. I've got a lot of systems that I never ever played. I'm never likely to play. I don't have the room for them. This little games room of mine. Actually, it was a few weeks ago, I was sitting here and I've got so much stuff in this room that I couldn't possibly imagine trying to tidy up stuff, dust or anything. And it kind of got me thinking, should I maybe trim back in the collection? I don't know. I'm not going to sell anything that I'm using, but I'm certainly starting to get rid of stuff that I don't use. So, I mean, the Sega Master System is a perfect example. I'm selling that because if I really, really want to play a Sega Master System game, and because I don't have, like the NES, I don't have any memories attached to it, I can't think of one game that I would say, oh, I want to play it, because most of the games that are out for the Master System are out for the Mega Drive, so I would rather play the Mega Drive. I mean, because I didn't own a Master System, again, I've not got any memories attached, I don't have any nostalgia, so I'm quite happy to play emulators for systems like that. Will I eventually get rid of it? I think I will eventually. I mean, when things start to break down, it might get to a point. I might get to a point in a few years where I just think, no, enough's enough. Maybe if my health started to kind of ail a wee bit, and I mean, what I don't want, one thing I don't want to do is when I've shuffled off to the great arcade in the sky, people come into the house and think, oh my goodness, look at all the stuff this guy's got. Why didn't he make use of it when he was alive? And I don't want to be one of these people to kick the bucket and leave all this stuff. I'd much rather sell it, get money for it, and put it towards something that I can use and enjoy, So I've not got any plans to get rid of stuff that I'm using, but I am gradually looking to start selling stuff that I don't use. So yeah, interesting one. Anyway, thank you very much, Bop. I do appreciate that. Next up, Chris Panther UK. Another dose of classic waffledom. Not a fan of Bon Scott era, eh? 2 out of your 3 favourite ACD songs were from Bon Scott era. That gave me a chuckle, mate. You know me, Chris. I'm not the most technically accomplished when it comes to things. I do say things and then I maybe get it wrong, whatever. Yeah, what I think I was trying to say was, by the time I got into AC/DC, Bon Scott had sadly passed away, and the early AC/DC stuff is not. I don't really like it. I've always preferred the Brian Johnson vocals. I mean, I've seen them in concert a few times. It's always been Brian Johnston. But yeah, as you say, there are some classic songs by him. But if I was to pick, it's age old question. Bon Scott, Brian Johnston. I would always go for Brian Johnson, I'm afraid. But yeah, anyway, thanks for picking that up. Get it right up you. Anyway, right, Chris is asking me, what has been your most satisfying completion of a game? Oh, God, you know what? I'm embarrassed to say I have completed very, very few games. See, the thing is, a lot of games, I mean, I've said this before, modern games, I don't think you could ever really be satisfied. I mean, how many modern games do you complete? Like a PlayStation 4 game and go, oh wow, I am so satisfied. I feel really chuffed that I've completed that. I think sometimes it's because games I think are easier, you can save them more. It's a question of get so far, die, get so far, save, die, and you just keep biting away at it, and eventually you get to the finish. But do you get any real satisfaction? I don't think. Now, Kevin Down the Rabbit Hole made an interesting video all about. He was answering a video by Swifto, and one of the questions was if you could come up with your own video game. And what he was trying to explain, it's quite a sort of a complex thing, was just exactly what I'm talking about. Video games now, you get so far and you die, and you get so far and you die and you reload, get so far and you die and you reload. You don't really get any affinity with the player. If you die, so what? You just reload the game. And what Kevin was trying to say was it would be interesting to incorporate sort of a system whereby you really don't want your character to die, so when it does die, it's almost like game over, you know. Whereas now it's far too easy just to die, reload. So that's why I don't think I would get any real satisfaction out of completing a modern game. I mean, the original 8-bit games for me are way more challenging. I mean, I've completed very, very few. I suppose one of my sort of proudest moments was completing both Castle Wolfenstein games in the Commodore 64. One of them was Castle Wolfenstein, and the second one was Beyond Castle Wolfenstein. The only other games in 8-bit I've completed would be Robin o' the Wood by Odin Graphics, I think it was. I think that's who wrote it. I've completed very, very few games, you know, which is quite shameful for a gamer. For somebody who's been playing games for as long as I have, I've completed very, very few. Stuff like Manic Miner, I mean, I've got to I'd love to say I've completed Manic Miner, but I couldn't because I've got as far as about, I don't know, level 6 or 7. So yeah, I think Chris, I would have to go for the Castle Wolfenstein games. Now they're only 1983, 35 years old, so I think it's about time I completed another game. I have completed other games, like I say, the modern systems. But I'll tell you one modern game which I was delighted to complete was Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. It's an amazing game. It's one of my favourite sort of modern games. I've completed it quite a few times. I've completed it on the PC. I've completed it on the GameCube. I've also completed it on the Wii. The Wii. That's a great game. But anyway, thanks for the question, Chris. I do appreciate it. Next up, Mr. Lactobacillus Prime again, Mark. Question number 1. Us older adults are always met with a lack of personal time to spend the way we want to because of real life things and needs. This for me results in not playing a lot of those in-depth games with long campaigns, as I find myself distracted quite often. My wife Elise actually does play and finish games like Legend of Zelda, Horizon Zero Dawn, as she actually plans free time dedicated to playing these games. I find myself distracted by YouTube and tinkering with PCs and emulators and technology instead of playing video games. So I'm more about the culture and things surrounding gaming than the actual gaming itself at the moment. Is that the case with you too? You know what, Mark? I think I am. I've said this before. For somebody who has got as many systems as I own, I don't actually play that many games. I think a big part of it for me is just like yourself. It's the nostalgia, it's the history, it's the interest in the whole scene rather than the actual sitting down and playing games. I mean, I don't think you could have a YouTube channel all about video games if you weren't interested in the history of it. So I think for the case of me, I think it would definitely have to be along the same lines as yourself. I do enjoy playing games, don't get me wrong, but I probably spend more time talking about them than I actually do playing them. Number two, is there actually any benefits to getting physical media on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One? Games have day zero patches and are virtually unplayable without the need to download massive updates. Why bother buying physical media at all in the modern systems, Switch, PS4 and Xbox One? Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I mean, as you say, you buy a game, put it in, and you're instantly hit with a massive download. I suppose about the only benefit I could say to buying physical downloads would be, say, 20 years down the line when, when all these systems are no longer online, you know, they're long defunct machines. If you've got a physical copy of a game, then theoretically you would still be able to play it, I think. Whereas if you've only got electronic copies of games, if your hard disk breaks after 10 years, whatever, then theoretically you've lost the game. So I think that's about the only benefit to having a physical copy. But yeah, it's just the way it's the way it's gone now. I mean, back in the day, you know, a game would be bug tested and, you know, they'd make sure it's actually going to run properly before putting it out for sale. Now they get the game out and then they fix it after it's released. So again, it's just the way the industry's going, unfortunately. So can you answer your question? I would probably say no, because you buy the game, you've then got to download a 50 gig patch, which is crazy. Number three, have you got is it a Ouya, that's what it's called, or ever had an Ouya? Now, anyone that doesn't know what Ouya is, it's one of these handhelds that was designed. I don't know, it was a Kickstarter. I think it was before Kickstarter was even a thing. It was a console, a handheld that was put together, and I think it was going to run its own games, and I think it was going to be an emulator platform. But for whatever reason, it bombed big style. Now, I've never owned one. I've never even seen one. I think Mark's got one. In fact, I think Mark's possibly done a video on it. Go and have a look. But I've never owned one, Mark. I've never had any real inclination to own one. I mean, as I've said before, I don't really collect systems for the sake of it. I buy a system if I think I'm going to get something from it. But given that I've got all these other Android systems, I don't have any real interest in it. But all I do know about it is meant to be a lot of rubbish, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Number four, have you tried backwards compatibility on the Xbox One? I haven't, no. I mean, I've got an Xbox One there, it's up there. I've also got a 360 sitting there. So if I want to play a 360 game, I just play it on the Xbox. Great, I mean, it's great that you can do that. For people that don't have an Xbox 360, then it's great. They're getting to play some of their old games, but because I've got an original 360, I don't see any real point in using it. Number five, lager or a stronger beer? Got to be a stronger beer. I'm not one of these craft ale people, you know. I mean, you get like, the real ale and that kind of stuff. I'm not into that much, but I'd much rather have a pint of like I know that real ale people will be shouting at me, but you know, John Smith's kind of a dark beer rather than lager. I'm not a big fan of lager. On a very odd occasion, if I was really thirsty and I was at a pub, I might have a pint of lager, but generally it's going to be you know, a sort of darker beer. Number 6, any idea why a buttered piece of bread dropped on the floor seems to land on the wrong side? I think that's one of these things that scientists have been paid lots of money to try and figure out, and I'm sure, was it not determined that it was virtually half and half? I would always say that, well, if you've got added weight on one side, then surely it's going to flip it over. I think, possibly. Does that not make any sense? If you had a piece of paper and you tied and you sellotaped a coin to the bottom of it and dropped it, surely it would fall with the weight down. So would that not be the same for a piece of toast? I don't know. I'm sure they've actually proven that it's virtually 50-50. Could be wrong, I don't know. Number 7, telling the time from an old-fashioned clock with a small and large hand and a proper dial, or some digital timepiece which reads the time more comfortable. I would probably go for digital, just because I think it's easier to see. You can quickly glance at the time, 3:30, whereas sometimes some of these watches you get, they don't even have like the actual numbers. You've got to look at it for a second and go, it's 2. It's hard to say, whereas a digital watch, bang, you can just look at it and you can see instantly what the time is. So I would always go for a digital clock. I think 14:02 or 2:02 p.m. At work, we have to organise access to buildings and that kind of stuff, and we have to use the time, and it's always the 24-hour clocks. I think I'm kind of used to operating the 24-hour clock. I think if you use a 24-hour clock, there's no way somebody's going to misinterpret it, whereas if you put 1:30, somebody could possibly think you're talking 1:30 in the morning. So yeah, I would probably say 24-hour clock for that one. Number 8, what will cause you to completely pull away from modelling current video gaming, or won't that ever happen? I've spoke about that quite a lot, Mark. I think, you know, the way the industry's going with downloadable content, with being online only, I think when it gets to a stage where you can only play online against other people, I think that'll be the day I probably don't buy a system. It's just not something I want to do. Hopefully it won't happen. I think if it does go down that road, and I think it is heading down that way, you know, single player campaigns are becoming sort of less common. I think I would probably draw back and just enjoy all the systems that I've got, I think. And the last one, number 9, what is it in shoot 'em ups that attracts you? What attracts me about it? The challenge, the simplicity. You don't have to learn buttons, you don't have to learn combinations or special moves. It's a Twitch game, it's you against the machine. You don't have to spend ages learning the controls. I love the whole glorious explosions and all the sort of carnage that goes with it. There's something intrinsically satisfying about blowing up stuff in a video game. I'm not a big fan of killing people in video games, but I love destroying buildings or whatever. So, all your shoot 'em ups, your Dodonpachi, your Terracrestas, your Robotron, it's all about destruction. It's just enormous fun. I mean, what is not to like about shooting things in video games? But I think the older video games, they're less colours, or the colours are really vibrant. The contrast, full explosions. It just ticks all the boxes for me. It's to me, a shoot 'em up is gaming at its most purest. So yeah, that's what attracts me to shoot 'em ups. But anyway, Mark, thanks for the questions, mate. I really do appreciate you taking time to ask them. And to finish off, I've got one of my original subscribers. He was there right in the early days when I think I had probably under 10 subscribers, and it's Mr. Jamie Williamson. When did you last play your MAME cab? Any chance of the odd video or two of it in the future? Yeah, Jamie, you're right. I mean, it sits up there week in, week out, and I always look at it and think I need to play it. Again, it's like all these other systems that I've got, it's simply finding the time to play it. the thing is, if I actually make the effort to play it, I'll play it all night, because it's a wonderful cab. I mean, it's my mate Dave built it. It's a fantastic bit of kit. So I really do need to make more of an effort, and I do promise you I will start playing games on it. I mean, I do most of my gameplays like using software, but I think there's something nice to actually see somebody standing at a cab with the controls playing it. So I will make a point of playing it. To answer your question, when did I last play it? Probably a few months ago, and I need to rectify that, definitely. Number 2, you have well over 1.6 thousand subscribers. That sounds quite mental just saying that. A very decent number for such a niche channel. Speaking as someone who's been here when you were still in double figures, you were indeed, sir. Do you feel you've made it? If you don't get any more subs, are you satisfied with what you've got? That's a difficult one. At what point do you decide I've made it? I mean, when you start off with YouTube, just to get 1 subscriber is a bit of a high. Then I suppose you think, oh, if I could get 10, if I can get 20, if I can get 50, oh, 100, 200, 500. You know, I'm sure people who are sitting on 10 million, they want 11 million, they want 12 million. I don't do it for subscribers, but, you know, subscribers, no matter what we say about it, subscribers it's kind of a mark in the sand as to where you are with your channel. You know, so, you know, have I arrived? I mean, I think I arrived a long time ago. I've got all you guys who I talk to on a weekly basis. I interact, I get fantastic comments, you all take time to ask me questions. So I've arrived, as far as I'm concerned with YouTube, I've already arrived. I'm loving this. Do I want more? Absolutely. I think if I got to a point where I simply didn't get any more subs, I would be thinking, you know, have I saturated what I'm doing? Then it might get to a point where you're thinking, well, where's the motivation to keep putting out stuff? I know I like to obviously keep you guys entertained, but yeah, seeing subscribers go up is always, it never gets uninteresting. Every time I get a new subscriber, it's like, yay, you know, fantastic. But if it got to a point that it just stopped, then I'd be thinking, well, I must be doing something not right if I'm not growing anymore. I mean, what's interesting is when I look at other, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a few retro kind of channels, you know, in the UK that are doing really well. There's Steve Benway, there's Lawn Boys Post, but there's other channels that have got, you know, similar numbers to myself, maybe slightly more, slightly less. And I notice that all of us are kind of stagnating a wee bit, you know. I kind of went up quite quickly from 1,000, but I noticed the subscriber numbers now has kind of tailed off. You know, I might get 1 or 2 a week, I might get even more than that in a day, but then conversely it'll drop back down again. So I think I'm kind of getting to my peaking. I'd be disappointed if it never went up, because that's obviously a mark that new people are coming to watch it, because obviously people come along. I mean, I've had, I think you and I'll remember him, called the Bomb Jack. Jamie, him and you used to have kind of a bit of a sort of tete-a-tete on the old comment side, and he was a massive supporter of the channel. He was there right in the early days, and then suddenly he just disappeared. Now I don't know where he is. I don't know if he still posts on YouTube. I hope he's okay. You know, nobody knows what goes on in people's lives, but yeah, you know, original people that stick with the channel, they can drop off. So, you know, if I said I wasn't wanting to see the channel grow, I would be telling lies. But I think we always want to see more people coming in, not to try and say, oh, look at me, I've got 2,000 subscribers, I've got 3,000 subscribers. It's an indication for me that new people are coming in and watching what I'm doing. I don't do this for money, so I don't get any financial benefit at all, whether I had 10 million subscribers or whether I had 10. It makes no difference to me. But it's nice to see the number go. And finally, how many people that you know in the real world are subscribers to the channel? Anyone from the computer club, do they give you feedback? I think a few of the guys in the real world, at the computer club. There's Alan Brown, who's I've done what do you call it? A main mice and chums. There's Neil, my mate Neil. I've done a main mice and chums talk pish with him. There's another guy, Ian, who I think watches the channel. So there's maybe 3 or 4. My mate George, I think, watches the channel from time to time. So there's 3 or 4. One of my other mates, Ian, he claims to watch the channel, but I don't think he does. You know, but nah, I think that's possibly it. I don't think there's anyone else. When you say in the real world, you mean people that I see on a sort of day-to-day basis, actually see in real life, rather than guys like yourself who I'll only know online. But yeah, there's 3 or 4 people that watch it, and I think I know Alan definitely does comment from time to time. Neil not so much, and George, I don't think I've ever seen him comment at all. But I'm sure there's lots of other people that possibly do watch the channel and just never actually say anything, you know. But so anyway, listen, that is it. That is my waffle for this week. Thank you very much to all your questions. I do appreciate them. I know I keep saying that, but I really do appreciate them. I always try and make a point of answering all the comments that I get. Thanks to all the continued support that you guys give me. It is, you know, it's wonderful. Like I said, if it wasn't for you guys back stuff to me, I simply wouldn't be doing this. So anyway, I'm going to go and finish off my cold cup of coffee, and yeah, go and I don't know what I'm going to do. Might play the main cab actually. Hope you have a nice weekend, guys. And as usual, thank you very, very much for watching.